All right. So we're going to have a strap nearby and we'll make our way over to our mats and we'll begin lying down. So make your way over, come onto the floor, down on your mat, lie back. If you're more comfortable with something under your head, go ahead and put something under your head. And then just settle in. Consider perhaps, if it's comfortable for you, taking your arms out like a T, out wide to the side. And as your arms are out wide to the side, can you just let the back of your shoulders drop into the floor? Feel a sensation of just hollowing out your armpits. Feel the back of your hands resting on the floor, just the weight of your arms releasing into the floor. Feel the weight of your head resting back. Soften the roof of your mouth. Feel how the low back is relaxing as the floor is supporting you. Feel your feet planted on the ground. Bringing your full awareness now to what it feels like to be lying here. Letting whatever else is going on in the world, in your life, in your morning, fall away. And just bringing our full awareness to the feeling of the body, the feeling of being here now. As you're feeling your body, notice the feeling of your breath. Feel your breath as it moves in to the body. Notice where it goes and how it feels as it expands. And feel the feeling of your breath as it empties out and releases. Let it empty fully. Immerse yourself in this act of breathing, the sensation of the breath expanding into you and releasing out. And as you're breathing in, is there something you'd like to breathe in this morning? Something you'd like to cultivate or set as a focus for your morning's practice? And as you breathe out, is there something you're ready to let go of? Some burden or frustration that's been weighing on you? Can you let that flow out with your breath? Let your breath inspire you. Let your breath help you to find just peace of mind. Take a couple more breaths here. Enjoying the breath in any way that serves you. And after your next full release of breath, with your next breath in, you can open your eyes. Let's start to extend our legs out straight, and then take your arms and reach them up toward the ceiling first, palms facing, and then let's reach them overhead. Thumbs reaching back. Let's stretch long, fingers to toes. Big breath in as you reach, like you're waking up in the morning. You can flex your feet or point your toes. And then just let your arms come up and let them drop down to your side. We're going to place our feet back down on the floor. And as we're here, we're going to find our spine in a nice, natural, relaxed position, what we call neutral spine. And then let's start to flatten out the low back. So slide your tailbone toward your heels and feel how your low back starts to press a little more into the floor. Your tailbone lifts up a little bit. And then just release back to your neutral. And then take your hip bones and start to tip them forward. So you create a little more of a curve under your low back. And then release back to neutral. Again, slide your tailbone toward your heels and begin to flatten your low back down. Lift your tailbone and then lift your sacrum off the floor. And then just release your, so it's a small movement, release your sacrum, release your tailbone. And then again, tip your pelvis forward, making a more of a curve under your low back. And then release back to your neutral. This time, slide your tailbone toward your heels, lift your tailbone, lift your sacrum, and then just lift a little bit of your low back. So your ribs are still down, and then release back out into your neutral. Let's do that incremental lift again. So we're gonna slide the tailbone down, lift the tailbone, lift the sacrum, and lift a little more of your low back, but your ribs are still down. And then roll back out into your neutral spine. And now start the same way. Slide the tailbone down, lift the tailbone, lift the sacrum, lift up to right at the point where the low back and the ribs connect. But your ribs are still down. And then lower back down, slow, gradually release, relax into the floor, take a breath. And then this time, go up a little bit higher. Lift the tailbone, lift the sacrum, lift the low back, lift a little bit of where the ribs attach. And then lower down, slowly, gradually, incrementally. We'll continue lifting maybe a little bit higher on your spine now, starting to move towards kind of the middle of where your ribs attach. And then release slowly, gradually, incrementally down. And we'll go up and down one more time, like that. Moving up towards the upper part of where your ribs attach. And then lowering down slowly, gradually, incrementally. And then this next time, we'll come up to your highest bridge, where you hold your bridge normally, weight up towards where the shoulders are. With the hips up in the air, can you press your knees and shins forward and feel how the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, the glutes fire up to hold your hips up in the air in this way. Take a breath here. And then very slowly, gradually, incrementally lower your spine down. Feeling each vertebra releasing as incrementally as you can until you're all the way down. And just relax and take a breath. All right, let's lift the head up and clasp the hands beneath the head, letting the weight of the head rest into the hands, elbows wide. We'll take a breath in. As you exhale, start to knit your low ribs down into your belly. Use that action to lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Get your shoulder blades off the floor, and then release back and breathe in. Again, exhaling, knit the ribs down into the belly, lift the head, neck, and shoulders, and then reach your arms up toward the ceiling, a little bit forward. And then bring your hands back and release your head back and breathe. Again, exhale, knit the ribs, curl up, head, neck, shoulders, reach forward. And then you could grab your head again, or you could leave your arms up. We're going to inhale back. We're going to exhale and curl up like this a couple more times. Inhale back. Exhale, knit the ribs, lift up, reach towards the ceiling as well as forward. So don't just reach forward. 2 more like this, really pulling the ribs down into the belly and then releasing back. Last one, curl up, reach forward, and then release your head back. Release your arms down at your side. Let's take the right leg now and hug it in and extend the left leg out onto the floor. Give that right knee a hug, and then lift the right leg up in the air. Your arms can rest back down onto the floor. So we're going to try to keep the torso stable. So actually place your hands on your hip bones, all right? So that you can tell if there's any movement in your pelvis. And with that right leg up in the air, we're going to circle it just a little bit towards the midline and then down away, kind of like a big oval, and then take it just a little bit out to the side and bring it back up toward the ceiling. So it's an oval, it's not a big circle. You're circling across the midline, down and away, and then a little bit out and back up. And if you do that oval, can you do that without any movement in your hips? Your hands are on your hip bones to kind of keep you honest here. So we're circling that leg around and then out and up. And to keep the hips from moving, the core has to brace. It has to contract. And that's what we're trying to do here. So sweeping that leg around. So your oval might be very narrow in order to keep the hips from moving. And it can't get really big without the hips moving, but you might try a little bit bigger. We'll circle in this direction one more time. And then as the leg comes to the top, let's go the other direction. Take it out to the side, circle it away from you, and then bring it back up. Try that again. Circle it out to the side, down and away, and then back up. So we're breathing as we do this. We can inhale as it goes out and exhale as it comes back up. 2 more times in that direction. Out, around, and up. Your hips are steady and stable. Out, around, and back up. Nice job. Let's release that foot down. We're going to hug the left knee in now. Extend the right leg out straight on the floor. Maybe hug that knee in a little closer. Maybe you could circle your ankle a little if you want. And then take the left leg up in the air. Your arms are down, or no, let's hold on to our hips again. Hands on the hips, just to make sure that the pelvis is staying steady. So take that leg that's up in the air, cross it over your midline, circle it down and away from you, and then a little bit out to the side, and then back up. So we're coming a little bit across, down and away, circling out, around, and coming back up. And we're doing this movement, trying to keep the hips steady. You can inhale as you come across, go down, exhale as you come back up. A few more in this direction. We're starting with a nice narrow oval. And then if you're able to maintain that steadiness and you want to make it a little bigger, you can go ahead and do so. One more time in this direction, circling down, around, and up. And then we'll change direction. Take the leg a little bit out to the side, circle it down and away, and back up. And a few more like that. How are we doing it? Keeping those hips steady. No movement in the pelvis. 2 more times, circling out, down, and around. And last one, out, down, and up. Good job. Okay, release that foot down. And with both feet on the floor, let's just roll to the side, push ourselves up, and we'll make our way around to all fours. So as you're kneeling on all fours, hands pressing into the floor, hands right beneath your shoulders, spine nice and long, gazing down at your hands. We're going to try again to keep the hips steady and stable. We're going to try and keep the shoulders as they are. So we're going to try not to have any movement in the trunk. And as we hold steady, can you take one arm and the opposite leg and reach them out? So the arm reaches forward, the leg reaches back, and the body isn't shifting at all. Press out through your heel, reach forward through your fingertips, take a breath, and then bring that hand and knee back down. So there's no movement in your trunk. So this is just a kind of a gentle movement. So other side, other arm, other leg, reach them out. Don't let your weight shift. Take a breath. And then can you bring that hand and knee back down without moving your torso? Kind of gently, slowly releasing your hand and your knee down. And with no movement in your trunk, other side. Leg reaches back, arm reaches forward, breathing in, exhaling as that hand and that knee come back and find the floor. Try that again. One arm and the opposite leg, reaching out, no movement in the trunk, and then just gently releasing that hand and knee back down. And again, reach it out, reach long, breathe, and release that hand and knee down. Nice work. All right, let's sit back into child's pose. Take your hips back, release your head down. Maybe it's on the floor, maybe it's resting on your arms. Feel the breath now move into the back of your lungs, expanding. Feel the breath emptying and releasing out. What are you breathing in this morning? Is there something you're ready to let go of? One more round of breath here. And then with our next breath in, let's lift the head up and reach the arms way out in front, making our way now up to downward facing dog. Taking the hips up and back. Feel your hands firmly planted, spread out the fingers, press into the thumbs and knuckles. And as you lift your hips up and back, just let the weight of your head hang down. So it just kind of hangs off of your neck and shoulders. Just let the weight that you've been carrying in your neck and shoulders, the tension, fall away as the weight of your head drops down. Take a breath in and lift your hips up and back. As you exhale, bend a knee and press the other heel to the floor. And then switch. You just get a nice big stretch into the calf and ankle, alternating one more time, side to side. And then bending both knees a bit, take the hips up and back, take a big breath in. Let the breath go. And then walk the hands back towards the feet, dropping your heels down. End up with your feet planted, with your upper body just draped over your legs, arms and head heavy. Take a breath into your upper back. Let the breath empty. And then draw your belly in and begin to roll yourself up. And can you slowly, gradually, incrementally stack your vertebrae? Kind of similar to what we did when we were lying down earlier. Each vertebra touching the ground incrementally. Now they're stacking one on top of the other. Taking your time to come up. Once your head comes up, root down through your feet. Reach your arms out wide and create space across the chest and back out to the fingertips. And as you feel your feet rooting down, take your arms and reach them up. Lift the ribs, lift the shoulders, lift the heart. Big breath in. And then exhale. Let your arms come down. Let them sweep out to the side. Fold over. Drop your arms. Walk your hands out, forward, into a plank position. As you find your way into a plank position, you can decide if you want your knees up or your knees down. Either the line from your knees to your ears or from your ankles to your ears. Try to get that line nice and long. Push down with your hands. Push the floor away. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lift your hips up and back into down dog. Breathe in and out here. Then look forward. This time walk your feet up toward your hands. Plant your feet beneath you. Take a big breath into your upper back. As you exhale, extend your spine forward. You could have fingertips on the floor or hands on your shins. Again, inhale and round forward. Let that breath go. And on your next inhale, sweep your arms out and rise up, reach up. And exhale your arms down at your side. All right, let's pick up our straps. Finding your straps, you can stand facing your device. And just grab that strap, pull on it, have your hands wider than your body. And as you're pulling the strap, reach it forward. And then we're just gonna take the arms up in the air. So with your arms up in the air, maybe find a comfortable distance. So your hands are probably wider than your shoulders. And if your shoulders came up, just let them be relaxed. We don't need to hug the shoulders up by the ears. And now pull the strap apart. Pull as if you're trying to break that strap. You're pulling it apart. So your muscles in your upper arms are working, and there's a little bit of work in the muscles in your shoulders. You're pulling that strap apart. Now, as you press down into your feet, can you keep pulling, but just reach up a little higher. Reach up with your arms. Pull that strap apart. Take a breath. As we're pulling the strap now, let's bring it down in front of the chin. Elbows go wide. See if you can feel like your elbows are pulling apart, away from your center. And then as you continue to pull, reach it up in the air. You can come back down by your chin or try taking it behind your head. As you take it behind your head, make sure that you don't tip your ribs forward or arch your back. Try to keep your spine neutral. You got it either in front of your chin or behind your head, and you're pulling that strap. You might start to shake a little bit, that's fine. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, take the arms forward. Take them down and just let your arms relax. Great. Maybe wiggle your fingers a little. All right. Again, pull that strap apart, take the arms overhead. Take your stance just a little wider. Breathe in and reach up. You're pulling the strap apart, you're reaching up. And as you exhale, just tip over to one side. And the arm that's higher, reach it up. We want to stretch into that side. So the arm that's higher, you're reaching up, you're breathing into that side. And then come back to center as you breathe out. And then just stretch to the other side. So the arm that's higher, really reach it up and breathe into that side. And then exhale back to center. All right, we're gonna take it behind if that works for you. And then you might widen your grip. Can you go all the way back and down? And then can you come back up and reach it up? If that doesn't work for you, you can just be going down and up in front of your chin. Otherwise, one more time, behind, and then back and down, and then lifting back up, and then reaching up and overhead, and then bringing the arms forward and all the way down. Nice job. All right, we can set the strap aside for now. Let's come and stand at the front of the mat. Find your mountain pose, so grounding through the feet to stand tall. Let's inhale and take the arms out and up and overhead. We'll exhale and swan dive forward, folding over the legs. Let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. We'll take a breath in and out here. And then come into our straight arm plank. Knees could be up, knees could be down. Try to find the line of your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, ears. Take a breath. Exhale and lower down. You could drop to your knees first. Lower your chest into the floor. Let your chest sink close to the floor. Slide the heels of your hands back. Rotate your chin in so you're hovering your nose right off the floor. Long from toes to crown. Let's inhale up to baby cobra. You can press the heel of your hands back as your heart pulls forward. Exhale and lower down. Let's do that again. Inhale up to baby cobra. We'll lift our hands up, hug the elbows in. As the elbows hug in, can you pull your heart forward, take a breath, and then exhale back down. This time, hands stay down. We'll inhale up to baby cobra. We can stay here or come up a little higher to cobra. And then we'll exhale back down. Let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees. And then lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out. And then looking forward, walk the feet up toward the hands, planting our feet beneath us. Let's sweep the arms out now and inhale and rise up. We'll exhale our arms down at our side. And again, rooting down, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale and swan dive forward. Bringing hands to the floor, we'll step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here as you lift the hips up and back. Exhale to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower yourself down into the mat. Find your prone mountain. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. And make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And then I'd like you to drop onto your knees and come up to standing on your knees. So we are going to be putting the weight on one knee. So if you're on a hard surface and you want to put a blanket beneath you to cushion your knees, feel free. I have kind of soft carpet, so I'm fine. So initially, you're going to have your knees right beneath your hips. So separate your knees as wide as your hips. And find your hip bones. So earlier we were lying on the floor and we were sliding our tailbone down toward our heels. And if we do that, the hip bones lift up. So can you feel that action of sliding your tailbone down and lifting your front of your hip points up? And you may notice how that creates a little more space in the front of the hips. So as the tailbone is sliding down, I don't like to think of tucking the tail, but just kind of creating some length in the low back and the front of the pelvis lifting up a bit. So that creates some space. Now, if you were to lean back a little bit, you feel how your quads really have to fire to hold you in this position, right? We're waking up the muscles in the front of the thighs. So bring your weight back up, stacking your shoulders over your knees. Let's just try that one more time. We're going to slide the tailbone down. So we're going to lift the hip points up and then just lean back a little bit so that your quads really have to work to support this. And then bring yourself back up. All right, let's take one foot, step it out in front, and have your foot and your knee hip distance apart. So not a narrow or stance, just that normal width. All right, so with this back leg, same thing, kind of slide the tailbone down, lift the hip point up, making a little space right here in the front of the hip. And then let this front knee move a little bit forward so that you're deepening that stretch into the front of the hip, down into the front of the thigh. Yeah. And then that same arm as the back leg is going to sweep up. So can you press the back knee and shin down as you're lifting the front of the hip and the arm up? And we'll take a breath in here. And then we'll let that arm come down. Now, can you lean forward and bring your hands on either side of the front knee? You might need to step your foot a little more forward. And then this back hip can start to sink a little more forward, perhaps. How does that feel? If that's too much, you can come back to having your hand on your knee, if that would be better for you. Otherwise, we're here. Back hip sinking down. Can you, as you're here, kind of lift your heart a little bit and take a breath. Now, if it's comfortable for you, you could lift the back leg up. It's not right for everyone. You're kind of on the top of the knee, not on the front of the knee. And then if you wanted to go a little deeper, you could reach back and grab for the top of that foot. Can you then turn your chest and shoulders forward, and maybe you could reach the other arm up. We'll take a breath. You can press your foot into your hand, and then you can release that. We're going to push the weight back. We're going to do the other side. So change legs. If you want that cushion under your knee, you might want to do that. So you're going to step your other foot out in front. Your knee and your hip are, your knee and this front leg, they're hip distance apart. And let's do that same idea here of feeling that hip point. So the tailbone slides down a little bit. The front of the hip lifts up, creating some space in the front of the hip. Yeah. And with that action, let the weight move a little more into the front knee, front foot. So you're just getting a little bigger stretch here. And then push the weight back. Try that again. Slide your tailbone down, lift the front of the hip up, and then let the front knee move a little forward. So nice stretch here, into the thigh, into the hip flexor. As you're here, that same arm as that back leg reaches up. Big breath here. Now, bring the arm down, start to lean forward. Can you bring your hands on either side of that front knee? If that doesn't work so great, you could have your hand on the knee. Or you could have your hands on the floor. You can just be here, or you might try lifting the back lower leg up. If that works for you, you might try and reach back for that foot. And then rather than being turned back, can you turn back around towards that front leg? Press the foot into your hand, maybe lift the other arm up. Keep some length in your low back here. Take a breath. And then release out of that. All right, let's push the weight back. We can come to kneeling on both knees. And let's just sit back into child's pose. We're going to sit back on our heels, round over your legs, release your head down. And breathe here. What are you noticing? With each movement, are we noticing what we're feeling? How does it feel to be here in child's pose? The same level of awareness that we're paying attention to as we're here. Let's see if we can bring that to each movement, each breath. So, with our next breath in, we'll lift the head up. Let's transition to downward facing dog. And notice how it feels to be here. Breathing here upside down. Let's look a little forward, walk our feet up towards our hands, end up in our forward fold. Notice how it feels to be here. All right, let's separate the feet about as wide as the hips. We're going to bend the knees and drop the hips down. We'll bring our hands to heart. Let's keep the hips low, but lift the chest up. So we're sitting back in a chair. You can stick your butt back a little more. Take your knees a little forward. And then reach your arms forward. As your arms go forward, can you take your hips further back? You're sitting in a lower chair, perhaps. And then could you lift your arms up alongside your ears? Let's hold here for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to push down into the feet and legs, straighten the legs, inhale and reach up. Exhale and drop your arms down. And then just stay here for a moment. Just relax your mind and just take a few breaths. Notice how you feel. Great. All right, turn and face this way. Let's come into a wide stance. And let's turn this direction. So we'll turn the right foot in. We'll turn the left foot out. Let's bring our hands to our hips. And we'll just begin to bend the front knee and straighten the front knee. So as we're doing that bending of the knee, the outer back foot is staying down. We're bending the front knee and straightening. This time let's bend the front knee and keep it bent. And then with your hands on your hips, we're going to try and tip over from the hips. So our tendency is to move from the head. Can we move from the pelvis? Tip your hips over. Let your head follow. Let your bottom arm rest on your bottom leg. Now this other arm, I'd like you to try and bring your hand to the back of your head. And what we find when we tip over is the head tends to be forward. So can you press the back of your head into your hand? Your hand is pressing into your head is pressing back into your hand. And can you see how this has the potential to bring your head in line with the rest of your body? So your head is back in line with the rest of your body. With your hand, can you kind of lengthen the base of your skull? So you've got nice alignment of your spine here. Great. Maintain that position of your head and neck and just reach the arm over. Take a breath as you reach long. As you exhale, sweep that arm down in front. Reach it back behind you. Inhale and rise up to Proud Warrior. Broaden out from the center of your chest, the center of your back. You can take your gaze out over your front arm. Can you feel your spine rising up nice and tall as you breathe in? Can you feel the weight of your feet solidly planted into the floor as you breathe out? Take one more breath here and just notice what you notice. And then relax your arms. Straighten this front leg, turn that foot in, start to turn the other foot out, back foot turns in. Hands on hips, let's start to just bend the front knee and straighten it. Again, we're going to bend the front knee and straighten it. Nice opportunity to decide how much we want to bend the knee, what the distance is, front foot, back foot. Let's bend the front knee now and keep it bent. And then same idea, rather than tipping over from the head, bring your awareness down into your belly. And from your center here, tip your hips over. Letting this bottom arm come to rest on this leg. So this hand on your top hip here, bring that hand behind your head. And initially it might kind of push your head forward, but now press the back of your head into your hand. Your hand is pressing into your head, but your head is pressing back into your hand. And then can you lengthen the back of your neck a little bit, like kind of pulling on the base of your skull. Yeah. And then take that arm and reach it out long into this nice long side angle. Take a big breath as you reach long. And then sweep that arm down in front. Let it reach behind you. Inhale and rise up to Proud Warrior. Nice and broad, nice and tall. Gazing out over your front arm. Connect with your breath. Connect with the feeling of your body. Connect with whatever you're aware of in this moment. when you're ready, and relax your arms down. Straighten that front leg. Let's go back to the first side. So back foot turns in, front foot turns out. We're going to bend the front knee again. We're going to bring our awareness down and tip over from the pelvis. And then rather than this arm resting on this leg, we're going to bring our hand on our bottom shin. All right, so can you think about that alignment rather than the head forward? The head is back. You could even check in with that if you like. Get that alignment. And then can you keep your head right where it is as you start to straighten your front leg? Doesn't have to get all the way straight. But as we straighten this front leg, this back hip is probably going to shift a little more toward the floor. Kind of our natural movement of the pelvis. So go ahead and let that happen. And then once you straighten the leg as much as you can, then turn the belly and chest a little more towards your device. Back of the head is still pressing into your imaginary hand behind your head. Let's breathe in and out here. And then we're going to just push down with this front foot to bring ourselves up. Let's do that all on the other side. Turning the back foot in, turning the other foot out. Hands on hips, bend the front knee. Bringing the awareness down into the belly. From there, tipping the hips over. And rather than the forearm resting on the thigh, hand comes to the shin. So imaginary head pressing into your hand, or you can actually do it here. And then, can you keep your head right where it is, rather than letting it draw back? Keep it where it is as you start to straighten your front leg. As your front leg straightens, your back hip might turn more down toward the floor, which is fine. Once your leg is as straight as it's going to get, you turn the belly and chest a little more towards your device. We'll breathe in and out here. And then pushing the front foot down, bring yourself up. Great, let's turn the feet forward, and then we'll walk the feet together to stand center. Great, all right. Let's come down now, all the way down onto the floor. And we're gonna start with a little work to stretch out the hips a little bit. So we're gonna lie all the way back onto our backs. And I want you to take one leg and cross your ankle over the other knee. Flex the foot on that top leg. You might push the knee away a little bit. And then lift the bottom foot up off the floor to bring the legs in towards you. All right, so we could be here with no arms, or we could reach one hand between the two legs, reach the other hand around the thigh that's further away, and pull in. Relaxing the feet here. You might just hold like this, or you might take the legs just slightly away to one side, and then back to center. Maybe slightly to the other side, and back to center. And then pull in a little bit more and take a breath. And then let go of the bottom leg. Release the top foot to the floor. Change legs. Drop that ankle above the other knee. Let the knee be a little bit away from you. Lift the bottom foot up off the floor, bringing the legs in towards you. You can flex your feet. You could just be here or reach one hand between the two legs, other arm around that thigh that's further away, and pull in. You might take the legs a little bit in one direction over to the side, inch or two. Take a breath, and then come back. You might take an inch or two the other way. And come back. You might pull them in a little closer. And then release your bottom leg, release your other leg. Roll to the side, push yourself up. Okay, so we're gonna try cow face pose. So there's two parts to cow face. There's a hip opening, and then there's some shoulder opening. So for the legs, we have some options. For any of these options, you're welcome to sit up on a blanket, and you could just sit cross-legged, or could you bring one heel in towards your opposite hip and take the other leg and cross it over. So ideally what we find is that our knees are stacked one on top of the other. I'm not really quite there yet. And you know, you're on the sides of your legs. So you can be here with your legs in this cross position. The question is, can you root your sitting bones down to sit up tall? If trying to come into this cross-legged position makes that one of your sitting bones is off the floor, then I would just sit cross-legged or sit with your legs straight or sit in a chair, and you can just do the arm portion. So whatever leg is on the bottom of this cross-leg position, you're gonna take your strap in that arm and take your arm out to the side. And then lift that arm up, bend your elbow so that your fist faces the back of your neck. With your other hand, reach back and grab the bottom part of that strap. And that fist faces the wall behind you, okay? So your top hand, the fist faces your neck or your head. The bottom hand, your fist faces the wall behind you. And that strap is aligned with the line of your spine. You're sitting bones down and rooting down to sit up tall. You can like press the back of your head into the strap so that your head isn't forward, just kind of like we did earlier. So now I want you to pull up and down on that strap. Your top hand is pulling up and your bottom hand is pulling down. So this is an active stretch into your shoulders here. The top hand is pulling up, the bottom hand is pulling down. The top elbow is lifting up, the bottom elbow is down. Now with your top hand, can you pull up a little bit and bring the bottom hand up with it? And then with the bottom hand, can you pull down and bring the top hand down a little bit? So you're pulling up and moving that strap up a little, and then you're pulling down. Keep your alignment of your spine, pull up one more time, and pull down. And then pull up and down simultaneously so there's no movement here, and take a breath. Good work. And then release your bottom arm and release your top arm. All right, so you have one leg that's on the bottom, so uncross your legs. If you're sitting cross-legged, change the cross of your legs. So take the other heel and bring it by the opposite hip, and take the other leg and cross it over, trying to stack your knees one on top of the other. And then decide or figure out, can you be here with your sitting bones rooted and your spine supported in an upright posture? Otherwise, if not, just sit cross-legged. Then the leg that's on the bottom, take the strap in that hand out to the side, bring the arm up, bend your elbow. Fist faces the back of your head or your neck. Grab the bottom part of the strap with your other hand, fist faces the back wall. And then root down and sit up tall. You might press the back of your head into your hand behind. And can you just pull up and down simultaneously? Top arm is pulling up, bottom arm is pulling down. Take a breath. Now with your top hand, pull up and take the bottom hand with it. And then pull down with the bottom hand, bring the top hand down. Pull up, breathe in. Pull down, breathe out. One more time, pull up, breathe in. Pull down, breathe out. And now pull both directions. Sit up nice and tall. Take a breath. Nice work. All right, let's release the bottom arm, release the top arm, uncross the legs. And we're going to make our way to lying down on our backs. So go ahead and lie down. We're going to use the straps. So we're going to lie back. Let's take the strap around the ball of the right foot, taking the right leg up in the air, holding the strap with 2 hands, straighten your other leg. Then you can let the leg fall a little bit away from you. So you're holding it up with your arms. And then just see how far you can bring the leg up before your knee starts to bend. and go to the point where your leg can be straight. And then push your foot into the strap so your leg is active. Yeah. And then see if with the leg active, could you pull the leg back any further before your knee bends. Just find that point where your leg can be straight, wherever that is. Push up into the strap and pull down to flex your foot. One more time. Push up into the strap and then pull down to flex your foot. Put the two parts of the strap in that right hand, other arm opens out to the side. Let that leg start to open out to the side. Keep the hips from turning or rolling. See how far that leg can go before you lose that stability in the trunk. Push your foot into the strap and then bring the leg back up. And then pull down on the strap. Reach up and grab the strap and open it up. Slide the other leg up. Place the ball of the foot into the strap. Release the other leg down and let it go straight out on the floor. With that foot up in the strap now, you can let the leg fall a little bit away until it's straight. And then kind of explore. As you start to bring it more up, at some point your knee might start to bend. So just go a little bit back from there. Push your foot up into the strap and maybe see you take the leg higher up without the knee bending. And then pull down to flex your foot. Push up into the strap and pull down. Good. Put the two parts of the strap in one hand, other arm drops open to the side. Take that leg out to the side without letting your hips roll to that side. Once you're out as far as you can go with stability, push your foot into the strap and then bring that leg down. Flex the foot down. And then bend that knee, take the strap off, set it aside. Let's just finish with a little gentle knees drawn in, a little swaying side to side, or maybe you want to try a little side twist, dropping the legs to one side and breathing in and out. Bringing the knees up, dropping the knees to the other side and breathing in and out. And then bringing the knees back, we're going to move into our final relaxation. So go ahead and take a few moments to set yourself up to be nice and comfortable. So that might mean a pillow under your head or a bolster under your knees or covering up in some way. What would help you to be most comfortable? Set yourself up and then lie yourself back. Dropping into our final posture. This time in our practice where we give ourselves permission to not do, to not think and plan and focus and pay attention, but rather just let ourselves be. Feeling the body relax. Feeling the weight of the body releasing into the floor. Heavy in the legs, heavy in the arms. Giving the belly permission to relax, to soften, to release, to unclench. Giving the weight of the hips to the floor. Allowing the shoulders to release back. Feeling a softening and opening in the area around the heart. Letting the weight of the head release back. Inviting all the facial muscles to soften and smooth. Letting the mind relax as well. Resting here, just as you are. It may be tempting to skip this part of the practice, but there is benefit here. Our bodies and our minds benefit from being familiar with this state of relaxation. Conscious, yet relaxed. Let's spend a few more minutes here. If your mind is active, just notice what your mind is doing. Kindly, gently invite it to be like your body, just relaxing here now. The mind will wander. Observe where it goes, but don't follow it. Bring it back here. And if you like, you can lie a little longer. If you're ready to come out, you can start to slowly, gradually open your eyes. You can bend your knees and bring your feet to the floor. You can gently roll to your side and take a little time in that fetal position. Slow, gentle transition. We might make our way up to sitting. Maybe close out our practice with a few moments of deep gratitude for this life, this day, this morning. The many things that we have, the abundance in our lives. Maybe just calling to mind 3 things that you can think of that you're grateful for this morning. There's a lot of hardship in our world today, but keeping in mind that there's so much that we have to be grateful for can really help during these challenging times. So with deep gratitude for your presence and your practice this morning, thank you for being here. I wish you a lovely day. Peace. Namaste. And you're welcome to just check out and make your way. If you want to come and say hello, you're welcome to do that as well. Thank you for being here.